Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Trick Podcast of Joy on this special Christmas edition. Before I get started, I want to check the stream, make sure that you hear me fine, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below. Tell me if you are a last-minute shopper or not. So leave a comment below, tell me yes or no. What are you like? Are you a last-minute shopper? Are you someone who has done all your shopping ahead of time? Do you not even believe in Christmas shopping, right? Maybe you're one of those minimalists that you're just not into the whole thing, right? But talking today about a very important topic that I think that a lot of people need these days, and that is I want to give you 6 tips on how to overcome burnout, how to overcome that exhaustion, that feeling of I just can't handle my job, I can't handle these bills, it's just way too much drama in this world. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Got my Goso bell here, right? Man, it seems like there was a lot of drama out there. So I wanted just to say hello to all of my friends on this special Christmas episode here on Saturday, December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve and just 2 days before Christmas Day. And just literally, 8-9 days before the beginning of 2018. Can you believe that? So I'm going to just wait a little bit here. I'm going to see if I can add a counter. I think I have a counter here. Check this out. I love this new program that I have. This will give me let's see, maybe a 10-minute counter, something like that. Let's see here what we can do. Just playing with a brand new program that I have. We'll do a 4-minute, 5-minute counter. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. Where did it add it? There it is. Is it so? There it is. Okay, thank you. Okay, so in about 4 minutes, we're going to start with the show just to give you time to come into the live stream. And again, we're going to talk about a very important topic today, 6 tips on how to overcome burnout. I want to know, leave me a comment below, if you are a last-minute Christmas shopper, if you're someone who's done with your shopping, if you wait till the last minute. For me, I've actually, I'm pretty much done, I would say. By the way, in the background, there's a wonderful noise back there. My family is getting ready for Christmas with getting some holiday baking done. So I can't wait to eat the fruits of their labor. But I wanted to give you a few minutes here. In about 3 minutes or so, we're going to start just talking today about, hello, Sandra, good morning to you, good afternoon. Talking today about a very, very important topic that I think is relevant to a ton of people. This topic of today is how do you overcome burnout? 6 tips that I want to give you, things that I've learned, things that have been proven true over and over again from my studying, from all the input and reading that I've been doing. I want to give you 6 tips, but I want to give you a few minutes, 3:43, to share this video. Just comment below, say good morning, say hello, how are you? Because it helps the Facebook algorithm to get this message in front of more people. So give me a little thumbs up. And I have a brand new thing here, by the way, which is right there. Look at that. Hello, Sandra. Good morning, good afternoon. I can leave your comment right there on the screen, which is so awesome. So in about 3 minutes or so, we're going to start with this program. This is the pre-show, just to give you some time to say hello, good afternoon, buenos dias, Feliz Navidad. And then I'm going to give you 6 tips that I think are really important. And so you can leave me a comment below. Tell me, are you a last minute shopper? Are you someone who plans ahead? Okay, so now be honest. For me, as a typical man, I wait to the last minute, but this year I'm done. So normally I would go out tonight, forget tonight, tomorrow night, and do all my crazy Christmas shopping. But this year, I did some of it online, but I did most of it actually at the stores. Can you believe that? And, typical guy style. I went in about 10 minutes. I was done because I had it already done in my head. But I want to give you guys a few minutes just to say hello. Come in. If you see a 1 up there, that means that this show is awesome. You can be number 1. You can be number 2. You can be number 3. In about 2 minutes, I want to give you 6 tips on how to overcome burnout. I also, by the way, have a second camera. Let me adjust it really quick. But hello, camera number 2. Playing with some new toys, some new technology. As you know, I'm always pushing the envelope when it comes to technology because you have to constantly be trying new things so that people get excited about your show and don't get bored. I'm actually going to be doing a bunch of new things this next year. I'm going to start 3 new shows. I'm going to actually do one for millennials, do one just for women, do one just for people in general, talking about different topics that I think will help a ton of people. So we're going to add more fun things. My Goso hat's going to come back and do a bunch of more things. But thankfully, we're going to do it in a different way, more relaxed, not as elaborate as I used to do it before, just to kind of keep it simple. So in 1 minute, we're going to start the show 6 tips on how to overcome burnout. I just want to give you a few minutes here, a few seconds, so you can come in, invite your friends, get yourself all comfy. This will be a quick 20, 25-minute show so that you can enjoy this and hopefully learn some tips. I think these are really awesome tips on how to overcome burnout. And so you may think, well, what is burnout? Well, burnout are those times where you just have had a rough year and it's all caught up to you. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? That's my Goso bell. Man, say yes if you have been there, or if you know somebody that's been there, or you were there last year, or you're there now, right? So in just about 40 seconds or so, 20 seconds or so, we're going to start the show. I'm going to get some water here, so excuse me while I drink some water. Tasty, tasty. Getting ready here. Hello, John. Welcome, my dear friend. Are you in Virginia, John? Are you in D.C. or are you in Alaska? So my friend John, awesome musician, bass player. Wonderful times together with John. Saying hello. Tell me a comment below there, John. Where are you watching me from? Are you in the U.S.? Are you out of the country? I know you've done a lot of things in different places. So, well, with that said, let's get started, okay? So the timer is down to 0. So here we go. Welcome to the David Trigg Show. Goso for the whole family. Talking today about 6 tips on how to overcome burnout. So what do I mean by burnout, first of all? Well, let's define burnout. Burnout are those times where you finally your body just gives out. Your emotions. You've been hanging on for a long time and you finally just say, you know what, I think I'm done. I think that my emotions, my body, maybe you get sick, perhaps you have a bit of a nervous breakdown or you have an emotional breakdown, you can't sleep at night, something that just tells you that you've been ignoring certain aspects of your life and you can't do it anymore. And so you experience what many people call burnout. It's a temporary time where you just feel done. And it's more than just simply being tired. It's a combination of things. And so leave a comment below if you've ever felt that way. Just say yes, amen, 2 hands up. Just give me something there, a comment, so that we know that you've been there before, okay? So here we go, 6 tips. Number 1 is think logically. Think logically. Now, depending on who you are, okay, I'm a big MBTI kind of guy, meaning I love psychology. I've studied psychology since I was in high school. I've taken a bunch of courses. I'm a certified anxiety coach. I have a bunch of training just on how to think and the biology. One of the books that I love the most is one by Dr. Buss called The Psychology of Discovery. And so I'll have to put a link in the bottom of this show so that you can maybe get this book. It's actually been around for a long time. But here it is. A lot of us think emotionally or we think intuitively. And so when we think intuitively, then it can be hard sometimes to think linearly or logically. So when you are experiencing burnout, I recommend that you try to think with your head, that you write things down and that you try to think of the reasons why you feel the way you feel. So get out of your head and put all the stuff that's in your head, all the reasons why you're feeling this way, and write them down. And then next to those things, write down things such as, is this true or is it not true? Is this really accurate or not? Should I do research on this or not? Now, for a lot of us intuitives, if you are an intuitive type or an empath like I am, maybe you're an artist, you're a speaker, you're a community person, a lot of us that are Christian leaders or musicians or creatives, we're intuitives. We think with our gut, with our heart, right? We're not always just, okay, logic. It's in there, but we sometimes wrestle with that. So what happens is that sometimes we get emotionally, what I call it, constipated. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, right? My Goso bell. It just means that you're toast. You can't crunch the data. You're just done. You can't quite catch up to all that's in front of you. So what I recommend is that you think logically. Write down the reasons why you're feeling this way, and then next to it, write, is this true or not? Stop avoid conspiracy theories. Avoid thinking on your own. Now, I think it's important that you trust your gut, and we're going to talk about that. But you want to make sure that your gut also has some reasons why you're feeling what you're feeling. So that's, I would say, the most important tip is think logically. Try to get outside of your head and write things down. Get outside of what you're just thinking and feeling and processing and actually write them down. Because what that does, it actually helps you realize that you have reason to be burned out, that you're not going crazy, that it's not just you being emotional or you're going through a bad week or you're just having a moment. But it actually helps you realize that you truly are experiencing a ton of stuff. And it may be things even that have happened the whole, 12 months ago, a year ago. Go back and document everything. Document what happened in January, in March, in June, in September, and then write down what happened, how you felt, how it affected you. Sometimes I even try to color code the different events. So maybe I'll say I lost my job. That's red. It could be that you got a bad grade. Well, maybe that's a yellow, or it's not quite red. It might be that you got a flat tire or a cop stopped you. Maybe that's green. That might not be quite as bad. But you begin to rate your plan, your documentation, and then you can look back and say, wow, there's a lot of red on this document. No wonder. The best thing that my therapist tells me is this wonderful phrase. It makes sense because. So when I come to him and I say, man, I'm feeling this and that, instead of him saying, well, that's stupid, or I don't know why, he says, it makes sense. It makes sense why you feel that way. So how awesome it is when you can be logical. Number 2 is go with your gut. It's in many ways, it's the balance to the logic. Sometimes there are things you can't explain. You can't quite put your finger on why you're feeling a certain way. Go with your gut. Trust the fact that you are feeling done or burnt out, or you have this just sense inside of you that something is wrong. Trust that. Just because you can't put it on paper, it doesn't mean that it's not true. So this is just the opposite side or the complement to number 1. Go with your gut. Don't dismiss what your heart is telling you. Some people may feel it in their gut. They're like, I just have this feeling. Have you ever said that? Yes. It might be in your head. You have this thought, man, I don't know why I just can't get this thought out of my head. It might be in your heart. You might think, I just have what is that word? A premonition. I have this sense. I don't feel right about this. Trust that. And then do the same thing. Write it down. Go through your day, go through your list and think about, why am I here? What is it that I'm actually feeling? So here's some ideas, some practical tips. You might say, you know what I'm feeling? I feel unhappy at work. That's just a gut feel. You may not know why. You may not have a total reason or logic behind it, but that's how you feel. You may say, I'm not happy with my marriage. You may want to not even admit that, but writing that down and going with your gut will clarify things for you. You might say something amazing like, I have done a great job this year. And maybe all of your logic says, well, no, you're failing. But in your gut, you know that you're doing the right thing. Go with your gut. Write down both the logic, but also the feeling or the gut. I don't like the word feeling because in our society today, people don't trust feelings. Don't use the word feeling if you don't like that. Instead, use the word gut, premonition, a sense, listening to your heart. You can even say you're listening to the Holy Spirit. That's maybe a different level. But all of these things are trying to help you unpack, open up your soul, your heart to what you're really feeling. Because here's something. Your body will always be ahead of your brain. Your body will always be 3 to 6 months ahead of your thoughts. Your brain might be saying, hang in there, this is going to get better, or ignore that. But your body is being truthful. It's saying, this is not right. Something is wrong. Maybe it's saying to you, you know what? You're the problem. You're the one that has to change. Sometimes our body is very wise. I would say it's always wise because it's telling us the truth. I'm just here resetting a little bit of our Facebook feed. So listen to your gut, but also write things down. Have that 1-2 punch. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is make sure that you resolve conflict. A lot of times when we're feeling overwhelmed or when we're feeling burnt out is because there's a decision that we're not resolving, that we're not making. Maybe we're trying to make people happy or to be a people pleaser or to overdo it. I have a lot of young friends that I mentor. I'm a millennial coach, so I have many young people in their late teens and 20s and some 30s even that I coach and mentor as my clients, a private practice that I have. And I'm a life coach and I'm their consultant. And so a lot of times what I hear from them is, Trig, I am overwhelmed. I have so many things that I have to do. And I know this is true for everyone, but certainly young people today are feeling the pressures like never before. And they're trying to do all these things because they feel like they have to graduate on time and they have to succeed and make money and make their parents happy and all of these things. And then something always gives out. Make sure that you resolve those conflicts that you may have. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it could be that you have conflict with your boss. Go and address it. It could be that you have conflict with your husband or your wife or your family. Try to work things out. These are not easy things. You might have conflict at the place where you volunteer, at your church or with your pastor or with someone in your Bible study. Resolve those things that are causing that stress in your head. Many times when you feel burnt out is a accumulation of things. But one of the big things often is conflict. I was listening to this one guy and he was saying that most of life's pain come from relationships. And I totally agree. You know, it's not war. It's not the government. Yeah, those things can affect you, can affect all of us. But it usually is relationships. Of course, unless it's something like cancer or something really difficult. But for the most part, the burnout that you're feeling is probably caused because of conflict between relationships. Start with the people closest to you and go from there. Resolve conflict. Number 4 is force yourself to rest. We're talking about 6 tips, if you're tuning in late, on how to overcome burnout. Number 4 is force yourself to rest. And I want to use the phrase force yourself because most people say, I don't have time to rest. I can't rest. I can't afford to rest. Have you ever told yourself that? I can't afford to rest because I have so many things. Well, you can't afford to fall apart either. You can't afford to completely lose control. I remember the guy, maybe the one of the most crazy stories that I often think, I hope it never happens to me, was when, remember Coney 2012, right? So 5 years ago, the guy who made all those films went crazy. He just lost control and he actually got naked and was running around his neighborhood naked, like waving cars down. And I've watched interviews and basically he said, I just lost control. I didn't rest. I didn't listen to the signs. Force yourself to rest. Make sure that you take that break. Instead of saying yes to everything and then canceling, then instead maybe say, you know, I need to say no. One of the signs that I always look at, we have, like I said, a party back there, so we have some crying babies, so all part of the fun of Christmas. I love it. One of the things that always tells me that I'm off is when I begin to cancel a bunch of things, or when I begin to lie to myself and say, oh yeah, I can do that, and then you really can't. Be wise and say, you know what, I cannot go to that. You don't have to give people reasons. Just simply say, I'm toast. Or you can say, I have too much going on. Guess what? Everyone is in the same boat. And in fact, when you do something like that, it's a great example to other people to do the same thing. So that is number 4. Number 5, I have 6 tips on how to overcome burnout. Number 5 is learn for next time. Learn, actually, that's number 6. Number 5, well, let's go with that one. Learn for next time. So that is number 5. In other words, when you go through burnout, don't waste that opportunity. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from the experience. It may not have been a mistake. I don't mean to say that burning out is a mistake. My point is that learn from what happened. Are there things and signs that you can learn from? That you can say, it seems like I do this every time. Maybe you can learn the fact that November might be the worst month for you, or maybe June or January. Are there certain months or seasons, or maybe even weeks or weekends when it seems like every year you go through a low, you go through burnout? Obviously, the end of the year is a classic time because everything just piles up. You have time off, but yet you have flu season, bills, expectations, you have work, you have concerns, you have You don't feel like you have money. You're evaluating. So a lot of times this is the time when people die, when people get sick, when a lot of bad things happen. So instead of letting that just kind of be, learn from it and say, here are the things I need to do next year so I don't get into the same situation again. And then the last thing is to get input. I think that when we're in that place of burnout, we are the last people to acknowledge it. Even though it's great to know it, it would be great to realize it on our own. The truth is that most times we don't even realize what's happening to us. It's not like we broke an arm, right? I always think about it. If I actually had broken my arm, let's say those times that I have burnt out, or even the last few months when I've been feeling burnt out, if I had been walking around with a broken arm, people would say, "Oh, what happened?" And then you could tell the story. They could feel understanding. They could sign your cast if you're into that. And most of all, people are like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But when you're emotionally burnt out, people just expect you to just keep going, right? Because none of us are comfortable with our emotions these days. In fact, we get pushed to the edge until something finally happens. And then we're like, "Oh, I guess I should have read the signs," right? Think logically, but get input. Ask somebody else, "Hey, how do you think I'm doing?" And try to maybe go outside of just your friends, your closest friends. Go outside of that to someone who won't just tell you what you want to hear. So even though I love my wife, of course, but sometimes obviously she wants to support me. But I need to go outside of her or go outside of my best friends or my kids or whatever and ask somebody else and say, "I've been kind of feeling this way. Here's what my gut tells me. Do you think that that's where I'm at?" And maybe give them some reasons, have some facts, have some things to support your gut. And then just say, "What do you think?" And just listen. Try not to manipulate the conversation or to tell them what they should think. Just simply listen to them. And if they say, "I don't notice anything," well, just mark it as 1. But if you're still not sure, ask somebody else. Ask someone or enough people until you feel like you are at peace with yourself. And then you can pretty much know, okay, maybe I should try these things. And then ask those people, "Hey, what do you do when you're burnt out? What do you do when you're at the end of your rope? What are some of the tips or verses or worship songs, or who do you see, or what works for you?" So a practical thing for me, something that I did just the other night, is I was reading Psalm 59. This year I had a couple of tough conversations where people were challenging me and I felt pretty attacked. Then I was reading Psalm 59 yesterday, and it says, "Lord, defeat my enemies." And I thought, oh, this is so perfect. I felt so vindicated, like God was going to take care of that problem that I just don't know what to do about. And guess what? God did. But then also at the end of that passage, it says, "I will sing of my Redeemer. I will sing songs of praise because you have delivered me." And that really challenged me. I thought, God has delivered me of a lot of stuff, and I need to sing to him. I need to worship him and thank him for what he's done, because he does redeem me. And he has taken me from that miry clay and put me up on top of a rock, and he's made my footsteps firm. He set my feet upon a rock. And now everyone will see and hear that the Lord is good. So maybe that is something that you need to do, that get the input that you need so that you can worship, so that you can overcome your problems, so that you can have a great start to your year. I don't believe in waiting till January 1st to have a great year. I don't believe in somehow thinking that everything will just magically change. I don't believe in making commitments that you can't keep. What I do believe in is on working on me every day, working on me in every possible way, not being a perfectionist, but thinking, okay, where am I off? Where am I needing to grow? What is this tension or this depression or this burnout telling me about me? Not about you, not about my husband or about the government, but about you. People that overcome and win at life are those that keep learning. For me, how do I learn? What's the input that I have? I have mentors. I have a therapist. I even take some medications here and there. I listen to a ton of podcasts and books on tape and actual books. I have a library full of books that I read. I buy books every month, probably 2 or 3 books, and I read half of them and then I stop. It doesn't matter. It's not about being a perfectionist. It's about constantly getting input. If you're just thinking on your own or just talking to yourself all the time, you're going to lose your way. You're going to lose your influence. You're going to destroy your life and the lives of those closest to you. So I hope these tips have helped you. I know we didn't have a lot of engagement here. I know everyone's busy today running around with Christmas, but you can listen to this later today. No problem. I encourage you to share this with your friends. I want to say one last goodbye here to my second camera, and thank you guys for your support. Share this video. I hope that you're doing your last minute shopping and that you are not getting too angry out there at people. Make sure that you calm down, relax, enjoy, go to church tomorrow, come to my church, enjoy your holiday weekend. I'm off all of next week, but I will be here with you as much as possible to encourage you, give you gozo for the whole family, Jamba Juice for the soul, your daily dose of gozo, living la vida, gozo, living on Gozo Street. Gozo, by the way, means joy in Spanish. So that though there's pain in the night, gozo comes in the morning. Have a great rest of this day, and I will see you next time. Adios.